Hello, everyone. I'm Eileen Boswell. I'm a doctoral candidate in education at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, right in the middle of the USA. And what I'd like to talk about is that whereas many people might transcribe interview data into a Word document or have it auto-transcribed into a text file, I transcribe interviews into Excel because I want to upload Excel data into NVivo for better coding. So I want to talk about how just the basic tasks of how I do project management actually has methodological implications and how I begin with the end in mind in order to really think about what it's going to end up looking like and feeling like in NVivo and how I've backwards engineered my entire process to accommodate that. So for starters, I'd just like to say that there are many different containers that you can use for holding data. And you might think of an interview as a linear process that is words, mostly verbal data, and you want to capture it in a start to finish, top to bottom, linear Word document. But I prefer to transcribe into Excel because Excel allows me to take a look at the interview data top to bottom if I want to. But I can also sort and reorder things from participant to participant. I could group data for one interview question if I wanted to. I pre-code my interview questions for how they tie to different research questions or aims of my project. And I would like to be able to sort the data, the responses to the interview, based on the ties to those various research questions or aims. So there's lots of different containers for your interview data, but I advocate for transcribing into Excel. So there are, in fact, some drawbacks to this method, and I have acknowledged here some advantages of actually using something like a Word document, which is that while you're coding in NVivo, if you wanted to edit that data, maybe because you found an error, you could go right into that document in NVivo and edit a Word document file that you've uploaded. If, for example, you wanted to capture some affect, such as the fact that the participant didn't just say, I was at my wit's end, but said it with exasperation, maybe you might use bold or italics, and you want to go in and modify that while you're coding. That would be an example of when Word might have some advantages over Excel. But as you can see from my chart here, I think that the advantages to using Excel data for coding interviews far outweigh the disadvantages. So in Excel, before I upload to NVivo, I can sort my data by research question or by aim if I want to. I have actually taken notes in the interview protocol as a spreadsheet during the interview, so I could sort or search by those notes. I could filter by different things if I wanted to code to just one research question at a time. So I can use all of the searching, sorting, and filtering capabilities of Excel once that interview data has been uploaded to NVivo to facilitate my coding. I can easily adjust the column widths as I would with an Excel spreadsheet while I'm in NVivo, when I get to a particularly long question or long answer, for example, to facilitate just the visual aspects of my coding process. Again, that's a little bit harder to do when you're manipulating a table in Word, but when you're working with Excel data in NVivo, that makes it a little bit easier. You can also see in picture 2 here that if I've pre-coded my interview data and it's in an Excel spreadsheet, I can tie it to things like a specific sub-research question or a specific aim of my project, making it much easier to search, sort, or filter by those aspects while I am coding. Now you can also see in picture 3 that each interview response is isolatable as a cell. So what I've done is I've transcribed each individual response into its own cell. I can still read it holistically. I can read the interview top to bottom, start to finish if I want to, and I won't lose any of that holistic quality of a linear Word document. However, for a long interview that I might not be able to code all in one sitting, using the Record Advance tool at the bottom of the screen, which you see here in picture 3, helps me keep track of how many responses I've coded, and it helps me keep track of my progress so I can advance one response at a time within my coding. Now, I have some information here about why I recommend hand transcription, manual transcription, immersing yourself in the audio and maybe even video if you have it of online remote interviews. But even if you have used an auto transcription service, you can then copy and paste it into Excel before coding.